I have never in my life been more scared of the dark than when this happened to me. This is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life, and it's gonna get really creepy. So if you're scared of the dark, then do not watch this video. The setting is my hometown of Stockholm, Sweden. My ex-girlfriend and I had broken up 2 months prior to this, but we were still pretty friendly with each other. I remember thinking that it was weird since no one ever came to visit me at this hour. It was almost midnight. Still, I walked to the door, and through the peephole I saw what looked like a man in his late 20s. My blood ran cold. I immediately knew who he was talking about. It was my ex-girlfriend. She had told me that she had gotten a few strange text messages from unknown numbers lately, but we had both thought nothing of it. Could this guy be the one sending them? He was wearing a hoodie and a pair of jeans. I tried to scream, but no sound came out of my mouth. Was this guy going to hurt me? What did he want with my ex-girlfriend? So many questions ran through my head. He was also holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. I didn't recognize him at all. I peeked over my hands and saw that he was staring at the window. Outside, it was getting light. The sky had started to turn a faint shade of blue. I watched as he walked away and disappeared around the corner. I stood there for a moment, still in shock, before I remembered to lock the door. I told him everything that had happened the night before, but he didn't believe me. He thought that I was making it up. Neither of us made a move. After a while, he sighed and put his hands up in the air. Okay, fine. I left a message saying that she needed to call me back as soon as possible. Then I called my friend and told him to come over. I was too scared to stay in my apartment by myself. It's time for you to go, he said. He helped me up and I stumbled out of my room and into the hallway. First thing I noticed was that my couch had been overturned and the TV was lying on the ground. I gasped and stumbled backward. Then I slowly bent down and peered over the couch. It was my ex-girlfriend's feet. I felt my heart sink into my stomach. I froze in my tracks. What had happened here? No, 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 I whispered. Please don't be dead, please. But she was dead. I could feel it. My ex-girlfriend was dead. There was a single stab wound on her chest right over her heart. Blood had soaked through her sweater. But don't blame me when you get hurt, he said. And then he charged at me. To this day, her killer has never been caught. I will never forget the horror of finding her lifeless body on my couch. Pain of losing her still lingers within me, and sometimes at night, when the shadows grow long, I can still hear the echo of her screams. On the floor next to her, I saw a pair of scissors sticking out. They were covered in blood. I knew in my heart that those same scissors had plunged into my ex-girlfriend's chest, taking her life. I needed to do something. I kicked him as hard as I could in the groin. You should come with me peacefully, he said calmly. I don't want to hurt you. I shook my head. Maybe it was just some drug deal gone wrong or something, he added. I shook my head. No, I know that it wasn't. I explained to him how I had found my ex-girlfriend as present at the mall, and how she had been so happy about it. My friend listened patiently, but still didn't believe me. I could feel his hot breath on my neck. I was sure that he was going to kill me. If whoever it was that broke into your apartment is still there, then you need to call the police. It had been some random guy who had broken into my apartment. That's when I got scared all over again. Had something happened to her? Was she in danger? I raced up the stairs to my apartment and fumbled with my keys. But then again, why did he have a pair of scissors and why did he bring flowers? And most importantly, where was my ex-girlfriend? I nodded and thanked him for listening to me. He reached out and grabbed my shirt, ripping it apart. I could feel my heart beating rapidly in my chest. No, I don't think so. I knew that I wasn't being very brave. In fact, I was extremely scared, but something inside of me just took over. He let out a yelp and loosened his grip on my arm. I used that opportunity to run out of his grasp and sprint to my kitchen to grab a knife. Knew I wasn't going to be able to outrun him, so I needed a weapon. We had both decided that we wanted to move out of our shared apartment because we had just finished high school and wanted to start university somewhere else. But we didn't want to move alone, so we found another couple to share an apartment with. It was actually the ex-girlfriend's birthday. She had invited some friends over and I had picked up her present from the mall earlier that day. The gift was a plushie and a really nice sweater. As soon as I opened it, the guy walked inside without saying a word and closed the door behind him. I tripped over my own feet and fell to the ground. He stood over me and ripped my pants apart. I curled up into a ball and covered my head with my hands. I remember feeling really uneasy at this point and wanting him to leave as soon as possible. I asked him if he was looking for someone, but he didn't answer. Instead, he took a step closer to me and I could see that he had a pair of scissors in his other hand. I felt a chill go down my spine. She was really happy about it. When it was time for me to leave, I gave her the present and said goodbye. Then I headed home alone. When I got home, I quickly made something to eat, did some laundry, and then went to my room to play some video games. I lived in a basement apartment and I remember thinking how dark it was outside because the sun had already set, but I didn't think much of it. I turned on my desk lamp and started playing. A few minutes later, I heard a knock on my front door. For some reason, I opened the door without even asking who it was. He then took a step closer and said in a raspy voice, "I'm here for the girl." Before I could say anything, he grabbed my arm and dragged me toward my bedroom. As he dragged me deeper into my apartment, I started to get my wits back. I held the knife up in the air and shouted, "Get away from me." He stopped in his tracks and stared at me. He kept staring at me and I kept staring back. I remember screaming at the top of my lungs as I swung the knife toward him. He easily dodged it and lunged at me again. As he continued to tear at my clothes, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to fight him off. I was too scared. "Please don't hurt me," I begged. All of a sudden, he stopped and got off of me. "What?" I asked. He turned back to me and smiled. It was a sinister smile that made my skin crawl. Then he walked past me without another word and stepped out of my apartment. I called my ex-girlfriend right away, but it went straight to voicemail. A few hours later, my friend arrived and we decided to go to the mall to get some coffee. "Why would some random guy break into your apartment looking for your ex-girlfriend?" he asked. "I think you should go back home," he said. On the way home, I couldn't help but think that my friend was right. When I got home, I called her again, but she still wasn't answering her phone. As I opened the door, I noticed that it was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and stepped inside. As I cautiously approached the couch, I saw a pair of feet sticking out from behind it. With trembling hands, I pulled the blanket away and revealed her lifeless body. Her eyes were wide open and staring blankly ahead. I screamed at the top of my lungs, then collapsed to my knees and cradled her body. And then I saw it. At that moment, I vowed to myself that I would find whoever was responsible for her death and make them pay, but I never did.